This is #Africa, and that Mushweshwe walk is still continuing in Lesotho. But now, the worst storm to have ever hit the Southern Africa region, Cyclone Idai, hit Mozambique in March. That's exactly a year since it has happened. And during that time, roads, homes, and including bridges were destroyed. 700 people had lost their lives, and over 1.5 million people were left displaced. Now, exactly a year later, we're seeing Mozambicans living in makeshift homes, and also that continuous threat of climate change being evident in the country.
Vasco Gaspar is 100 years old. He lives in a temporary shelter, a tent, in Mozambique, and spends his time gathering maize. He says he has no choice. He's a victim of Cyclone Idai, which tore through southern Africa a year ago, killing over 1,000 people. He's an emblem of the very slow progress for many people in that country to rebuild from the disaster.
Cyclone
Idai was the worst thing I ever experienced in my entire life. Strong winds were blowing houses away. People were scared. People were running. And the destruction. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
His tent is in a larger government camp for the displaced. Although he's supposed to get food aid every month, he says the supplies sometimes come late. Deborah Nguyen is with the World Food Programme.
Unfortunately, 1 year on after the cyclone, there are still 2 million people who need food assistance today, which is really sad because it's a country that used to produce a lot of food, and in many areas around there, WFP wasn't distributing food before, and now we are helping them to get back on their feet by providing food every month since the cyclone last year.
The World Food Programme also said it had been forced to reduce food rations for those not living in resettlement centres by 50% in order to assist those most vulnerable up to the end of March. The government has promised to upgrade those settlements with stronger buildings, but says it has been held up by delayed funding and a host of reporting regulations imposed by different donors. In December, the International Organization for Migration said nearly 1,000 people were still displaced in Mozambique alone.
While bicycles are a common mode of transportation for many Africans, one Nigerian has taken the world by storm on his BMX. Now, he's returned to Lagos to share his love for action on his two wheels with the wider community.
At 12 years old, Nigerian-born Courage Adams was introduced to the sport of BMXing by a friend who invited him to a skate park in Pamplona. And after his first ride, he never looked back. At 16 years old, after being spotted by flatland rider Vicky Gomez, Adams went on to finish second in Omar Esquino contest in Vigo, before winning Streetline Montpellier 2 years later. He's now a star in the world of BMXing. And at 18, the rider has returned to the land of his birth, Nigeria, this time on two wheels.
This trip has been super important for me because it's helped me like get really into the guys here riding and get really like into their community. It's gonna help me a lot to like keep going forward because I know that life is not easy out here. To see the boys like keep trying to keep riding, keep trying to learn this, keep super motivated, and forget everything, forget the economic situation, forget what's going around, just forget everything and just try to be focused on your happiness and your way, you know. And this, I can't describe how much motivation is that.
Along with fellow bikers, Adams showed off what he's capable of on the streets he grew up in.
It's good to ride with him. Actually, it's actually great to ride with him. Like, I've been able to push more limits, you know. taking high risk this time and pushing the limits, going beyond what I can do before.
It's so great, dude. I wish people out there can imagine what I'm feeling right now and how is the street going right now and how crowded it is right now. It's like, oh my God, dude. Super, super crazy and super out of mind. Really. I'm so enjoying it. Really enjoying it.
Adams is now determined to build a skate park to give back to his community.
Let's take a look at other news making headlines in the continent of Africa. A circus is in town, and what eats 8 chickens a day and can lift 200 kilograms? We find out after this.